All right, hello and welcome back, ALEKS students. So this is another ALEKS topic that's called drawing the Haworth projection of a ketose from its Fisher projection. In this picture right here, this is what we would call a Fisher projection, and then we're asked to draw the Haworth projection using this tool over here actually. So these molecule fragments that we're seeing here, this type of pictures is actually what is called a Haworth projection, and we're going to go ahead and do a couple examples of this. To explain how to do this, I think it actually makes the most sense to actually just look at the ALEKS explanation. In this ALEKS explanation, there's a really nice little slider guide here, animation that will show us essentially how to go about, like what the process is to go about and solve these types of problems. So I'm going to work through this first to show this, and then we'll go ahead and put it into practice. And do an example or two once we've gone through this explanation. So there's this little play button here that will just sort of play each step. I like to have the control of dragging this around so we can sort of see what's happening and sort of go back and forth and really focus in on each step of the process. And so step one essentially is we're going to rotate the bottom of this. We're going to rotate around this carbon number 5 here to put the OH group on the very bottom. So that's all we're doing here is we're just sort of rotating this so that the OH is on the bottom. That OH is going to be what's involved in forming the new carbon-oxygen bond between this carbon number 2 and this oxygen here. So we want to make sure that that oxygen's at the bottom. Then we're going to focus in on these groups on the right-hand side. Those are going to be the groups that were in our Haworth projection, and we need to make sure that we're making sure that those are lined up and that we're keeping what those are in mind. Now I'm just going to turn this thing on its side. So, step 2 is really just sort of to turn everything on its side. And again, highlighting this H, OH, H. We'll see how that comes into play in the final product here in just a second. Now I'm going to start making the ring. So we're just sort of, switching things around. You can see that we're starting to indicate what this Haworth projection is going to look like. And then in the last step, we're going to just form that new carbon-oxygen bond so we can sort of see what's going on here between this carbon number 2, this oxygen. We're going to form a new carbon-oxygen bond. That hydrogen from this oxygen ends up over here to form a new OH group. And that's basically it. That's sort of our completed Haworth projection. And if we go back to the beginning, right, just to sort of run through these steps again. Step 1, we're going to rotate this so that the OH is at the bottom. If you're just starting out, I certainly would recommend writing this out, drawing these pictures out. That's really going to make it so you make less mistakes. But I think when we're actually doing it today, we can probably just visualize that that's going on as we go through. Tip it on its side, and then we're going to make the ring. So let's go ahead and try this. And the first thing that I always do is actually just sort of count the number of carbons that are in our Fisher projection to make sure that we're using the right tool here, the right molecule fragment. So basically the way to count this is from here, from this carbon right here, I count 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons to get to this C double bond O. And that means that I'm going to have a 5-membered ring. And basically the reason I know that is that this oxygen here is going to end up being this oxygen here at the top. And that's going to be forming this bond with this carbon here. And that's how we get to a 5-membered ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are going to be the species in my ring right here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this little palette tool here. And then I always go ahead and just put in our different ups and downs from the very beginning. You can do this sort of step by step, but for me, I know that we're going to end up with a picture like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw those in from the very beginning. And now we can think about the sort of process that we're going to go through, right? So step 1, we're going to rotate this bottom group, so this C5 here, so the OH is on the bottom, and then that means that this hydrogen will flip to this side, right? So this whole thing will rotate, OH will be at the bottom, this CH2OH will be over here, and then this hydrogen will be over here, right? So that's step 1, and then we're going to close that ring, right? So then if we just remember that visualization, we're going to close this ring, and basically what that means is that this hydrogen here, as I imagine tipping this on its side again, this hydrogen here is going to be this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. I'm going to write that that's a hydrogen. And then I'm just going to work this way, right? So this hydrogen is here. Then this hydrogen is here. And then don't forget that we've rotated this group, right? So again, we've rotated this, so this hydrogen actually is over here, this OH is down here. So this one right here is also a hydrogen. Now I'm going to go back and fill in, this top section here. So this is an OH. So across from this, right, that's this one. So we've got an OH going up. We've also got an OH here from this one. And then on this one, again, we have to be careful, right? This is the one we have to be really careful on. We've rotated this oxygen down, or this OH group down. So then up here, we would have this CH2OH. And I'm going to actually flip this to put it in like this so that it's very clear. I think you probably could get away with doing it the other way where it says CH2OH going this way, but I think that this is just a nicer way to display that. So this group right here represents this group right here. And then on the last side, we actually have a choice of this CH2OH could be here or it could be here. That's just the difference between the alpha version and the beta version. In this topic, it actually doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do CH2OH up here, and then down here, this is going to end up being the OH, which is maybe a little bit confusing, but keep in mind that this C double bond O, this oxygen here is going to be making that bond with this carbon oxygen here. So this oxygen is this oxygen, this carbon is this carbon, and then these electrons are going to end up going onto that oxygen, and then it's going to take that proton to be that OH. So this right here actually turns into this OH here. So let's go ahead and check it, make sure we've done everything right, and then we'll do one more example after this. So check, we got it right, great. Let's do one more. We'll do it a little bit more quickly probably, but first step, count the carbons. So from this C double bond O, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this oxygen here is going to be that other member of the ring. So we've got, again, a 5-membered ring. We're going to use this tool. I always like to draw in my ups and downs first. So we can do that really quickly. Then we can start, again, from this down group right here, right? If we imagine, rotating this and turning this thing like we talked about previously, then this is going to be an OH. This is going to be an H, so we're right here. This one, again, remember we're rotating this bottom group, so the OH is down, so then this one's going to be an H over here. Then that makes this that CH2OH. Again, I like using this one. And then we can go back and fill in our top, so this is going to be a hydrogen right from here. This is going to be that OH. And let's flip it this way. That looks a little bit nicer. And yeah, so that's sort of the main portion for this down here. And then again, on this last one, we really have the choice between putting the CH2OH up here or down here. Again, that's just the difference between the alpha version and the beta version. We don't need to worry too much about that in this topic, but that is something that your instructor might ask you to do and to focus on. So definitely keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and check that one, and we've got it right. So hopefully that helps, and thanks so much.